What is going on, guys? The is all gaming with my review of Gangsta episode 3, and this episode almost dropped a bombshell because it kinda did, but at the same time we don't know a full story. But at the beginning of the episode, we do see a glimpse, at least, of Worick's past, and we see now that Nicolas is actually the reason why Worick did not have his eye. And not only that, we see now that Nicolas also killed Worick's father. And of course, even though the flashback, it was not shown fully, at the beginning at least, they did show at least a little bit more of it. But of course, it was like very sped up. And not only that, most of it was like covered in like some kind of black stuff. Now that right there could kind of like represent blood, but I'm not really sure. But hopefully they will show the flashback soon, clearly, so that we can understand, the full story. But as this nightmare went on, Worick was like sleeping, and of course this right here, like woke him up. And so we see now that this right here is not the first time this happened for him. It actually happens, quite a bit, because like he said, that dream again, going down memory lane or something like that. So obviously, that memory, even though him and Nicolas, work so well together and they are like definitely friends, that one memory, still haunts him to this day. But we see now that Alex, she was now up looking out the window, and we see now, Nicolas now came, and he actually got ready for a job. And when Worick came in, I woke up and came in there, we see now that he wanted Ali to like work with Nick today, and they were like going around dropping off these bags. And we see now, normally, Alex is the one to like stay behind it and like gets the phone, but Worick here had like another job besides being a handyman. And if Alex answers the phone, that right there could be trouble, for like his other job. And so now we see that while, Alice and Nicolas were like out walking, of course, she was like curious about what this job could be. And we see now, Nick tells her that Worick is like actually a gigolo, and that right there surprised me. And not only that, I was like definitely kind of laughing as well, when she dropped it like it was nothing, because to me it was actually pretty hilarious. But now we see now that when Nicolas and Alice were like going around, walking around together, like they actually got along, a lot better than I thought they would, because I thought Nicolas might give her, the cold shoulder, because obviously, like Nicolas probably picked up that Alice is, probably scared of him, and that right there could be very easy, to pick up on. But we see now that one of their stops, it was at the granny from the first episode, and we see now that when she like wondering why in the world was supposed to walking with Nicolas, he actually tells her that right there was his woman. But we learn now that right there was a cover up, because whenever Worick likes somebody, Nicolas is the one that like claims her as a front, because that is like obviously a lie. And I do wonder why that is, because to me it is a bit strange. But we see now Nicolas was like going around dropping off these bags, and we see that, while Alice was like talking to the granny, there was like this newspaper that talk about, an old case that yet to be resolved. And obviously, this young boy, in the picture, that right there is like obviously Worick. And apparently, he was kidnapped, when he was 13, and that right there is around the same age that him and Nicolas, like came to the city as well. But we see now that the granny was like giving Alex a warning, to get out before it's too late, because obviously, if she stays here for too long, like she could definitely get in trouble. And we see now that Worick here, while he was on the job, with a client, because we see now that the woman is actually a housewife, and obviously, they had slept together, his eye was like bothering him at one point. And we see now that even though this woman is like clearly a cheater, it was actually, kind of nice the way these two were like interacting with like one another. And we see now that not only that, afterwards, we have this woman dropping off Worick at a job or at a place where, like, Nicolas and Alex were like dropping off a bag, and we see now that this woman, she is a freak because she had wanted Worick to bring along Nicolas, next time for a threesome. And I don't know why I found that so hilarious for some reason, but obviously that right there is not going to happen. And now we have Worick, Alex, and Nicolas, all walking together, and eventually they like, or we learned actually that, when they move in the city, they walk around, the alleyways, the back alleys, but they never take the main roads, and we have no idea why that is. And Alex was like wondering, like, how come they don't do that? Because if they do take the main roads, that right there will like get them to wherever they have to go quicker. And Worick just told her that eventually, she would find that out. But now we see that this higher up named Mr. Monroe, we see him now taking care of two youngsters because I believe at least that they were trying to like sell him out, and obviously they had to pay for that. And we see now Alex here, she still couldn't handle that, so of course she was like disgusted and feeling sick. But we had Mr. Monroe, Worick, and Nicolas all talking, and we see now that Mr. Monroe actually wants Nicolas to come and work with him because this guy is definitely good at what he does. And of course, Miss Monroe can use something as good as Nicolas, but luckily he did turn him down because Worick pays him better, and not only that, he like I said, better, with him and Alex. So that right there, I can't really blame him for. But now we see that their next and final stop, it was like at this whorehouse. And we see now that, only like Worick was there, and Nicolas was like waiting outside, and Ali was like in there as well. But you just see all these girls pretty much, like swarming Worick. And apparently, they all love the guy. And we see now that, Alex here, she had, told Nick, to come in there. And we have one of these whores pretty much start badmouthing him, saying that, like, Worick's gonna drop him, and eventually, he'll probably just die soon. And so we see now Worick get pissed off, and when he threatened her, I'm not gonna lie, I was like a bit shocked because I never thought he would like get that mad, but he pretty much scared her to death. This girl was like in shock, and to me, I found that hilarious. But now, I believe they call her Big Ma'am. She had came to get them, and we see now that, this medicine that they were like dropping off, it was like for some girl, we have no idea who she is, but apparently this girl is like very special, to Nico, because we saw them, alone after a while. But apparently this girl is like so sick, like apparently she cannot move that well. She cannot get up on her own, and on a good day she could eat, only one meal. So I do wonder, who is she, and how in the world is she in that bad of shape? Because to me, I did feel pretty bad for her. So hopefully hopefully we will learn who she is, and hopefully we will learn what kind of past she has with like Nicolas, because obviously now it seems like these two are a couple, or maybe they just care strongly for each other. But after that, Worick had left because he still had his other job to do. So obviously that meant he would go around sleeping with more women. And Alice here was like definitely kind of mad because she like learning so much and seeing so many different things. Obviously she had a ton of questions that like she wants to ask him, and sadly she could not get any answers. But the following day, we see now Nicolas and Worick, both of them were now back, and Alex actually went into Worick's room. And so we see that while she was like touching him, Worick moves, and we see now that he has like the tribal tattoo, just like Nicolas. So both of them have this. And I do wonder, what it means to them. So right now, we're like learning so many new things that we have yet to get, a full grasp of, because they hardly went into like any detail about them. But now we see that when like Worick had, you know, came to and got up, Alice was not there, and he thought that like she had left for good. But that right there wasn't the case. She has just left out, and we see now that she had went to, you know, her gigolo spot where she was once, you know, a prostitute. But now we see that while they were talking, you know, Alice was like wondering just how long he been a gigolo, and we see now that him and Nico came here when they were like 13, and apparently, you know, he had been doing that, you know, like 1 year later after that. So he been in gigolo since he was 14. Of course, that right there seemed like a little too young, but you know, this city at least hardly has any rules. And at first I thought maybe I was like, you know, upset about that, you know, about what he was doing, but it seemed like she didn't care that much, or it didn't bother her. But then we see now that while Nico was thinking to himself, we have more, you know, images of his past, and it seems like someone had brought, you know, Nico there, you know, to the mansion where he lived. And that right there is where, you know, things went downhill. But once again, we don't know why it happened. So hopefully we will learn soon, because right now I'm definitely curious. But the episode overall to me was definitely good. I enjoyed it a lot. You know, it was solid. We got some pretty good story progression, and of course now we're like hungry to learn more about, you know, our main cast. But overall, the episode, like, to me, I'll probably give maybe a rating, probably an 8 out of 10. But of course, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me out. And you guys take it easy. I'll see you all next time.